because, bros, people are hungry. Like a lot of people that have just one means of livelihood, or people who even feel they're talented and all that. Now that we can't gather, people can't come to watch shows. I've been waiting for this topic. So, bros, we are ready when you are. I'm sure other people.
I'm ready. I'm ready.
I'm ready. Sir. You have the floor.
Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. First of all, it is to say that I'm going to come from a point where people need to first understand my personal experience, and then use that personal experience to understand every other thing that I would say. Okay. So here it goes. I started to, and we're talking about the arts and the entrepreneurship that is related with it. So doing business with it. Just to break it down, is arts and business. That's the bottom line. It's arts and how to do business with it. So the first thing that we must do is that beyond recognizing that you have a talent, beyond recognizing that you are part of the arts hemisphere, beyond recognizing that you are part of, or the creative arts or any of the arts that you decide to be part of, you must know that until you make your art a service, or make any part of the art that you belong to a service, you can never make money. Period. Okay. You must be creating service to anybody for it to become something that anybody pays for. If what you have is not something somebody pays for, then you can't make money. Then you can't be an entrepreneur until you begin to make money from the talents that you have. I'm stressing it because I need that to sink in. It is that whatever talent you have, whether it is dance, whether it is tattooing, some tattoo, lali, or any of all those things, whether it is painting, whether it is knitting, whether it is drawing, or even if it is singing, anything at all, whatever talent you have, until you make a concerted effort towards turning that talent into a service, then that is when you can make money. Why do I say that? Until somebody can benefit from the talent that you have, nobody will pay you. Okay. The reason I'm saying that is that when I came on the scene, and I remember clearly, I came to Lagos to do an event in 1989. And on that bill, it was at the Mainland Hotel, Uyigbo. On that bill was Ojoladipo Theatre.
Wow.
The Ojoladipo Theatre, they were the ones that were performing. So there were about like 3-4 skits, and it was Adesoya, Chief Adesoya, the man that is dead now, Chief Adesoya. He was the one, not Adesoya, Adeniran Ogusoya, Adesoya, not Adesoya, Adesoya, the politician, that big Baba politician. Okay. And Adesoya, it was Adesoya's birthday also. So they brought me from Ekpoma to come and do that event. And it was Coca-Cola boys that got me to come and do it. Don't forget that Coca-Cola was using Mainland Hotel as part of their office at the time. So Coca-Cola brought me from Ekpoma to come and be part of that event at Mainland Hotel. When I got there, I came from Ekpoma and I was paid 800 naira to come and perform. Ojoladipo Theatre was paid 500 naira, and there were about 8 of them.
Wow.
There were about 8 of them. And when I say 8 of them, they had drummers, they had the gong, you know, that one that has 2 holes that they beat like this.
All the works.
They had that one. They had that one. They had 3 sets of drums, and then they had a talking drummer. Then they had 2 singers who were singing, and it was a short skit of about 10-15 minutes, and all of them were paid 500, and I was paid 800 naira. Yes, 800. Yes, 800. And so from the venue of the event, I got into a vehicle that took me to K2, Ojota, and from Ojota, I went back to Ekpoma, and that was in 1989. When I came back to Lagos and I started earning 1,000, 2,000, 3,000 from 1990, I ran into them again at a place called Club Bagatelle. And now Club Bagatelle was at Lagos Island, Marina, and I was charging about like 3 times the amount that they were charging. The reason I'm giving you this background is because I'm trying to make you understand that if you do not push your brand as if you are selling any other product, nobody will see it as a product that needs to be paid for. Don't forget, art is about research and development. It's about capacity building. If you have a talent and you don't do any of those to it, you will not get value out of it. If you have a talent and you don't find a market for it and understand the market that you're going to sell the talent in, you would also not grow. If you have a talent and you don't know how pricing is sorted out, if you don't know how the fees are sorted out and the discount is worked out, you also not there. So that we then understand me, let me now say it like this. For your art to grow as a business, write this down. First, you must understand the market. The second one is that you must understand the price that you are selling it, how you are selling it, who you are selling it to, what price you are selling it, what discount you can give to anyone, why you should give anybody a discount. All of these are global practices. All of these are global practices. You must also, if you want your art to grow, to understand investment and savings. Investment and savings. I'll come to that later. Then you must also understand customer care and client management. Customer care and client management. You must understand also your competition. Now, this is where a lot of artists fail. A lot of artists believe that their competition is the people that are in the same business with them. No. If I own a dance troupe and you own a dance troupe, you are not my competition. You are my colleague. My competition is the woman who is selling flowers. My competition is the woman who is doing catering. My competition is the person who is going to come and do the video. Because when they say they want to cut down cost, I will be the first to go so that they can accommodate the caterer. I'll be the first to go so they can get more flowers. I'll be the first to go so that they can get K-square. I'll be the first to go so that they can get a better venue. So my competition is all of those people. My competition are those people who are also on the same ticket as I am. My competition is not my colleagues. That is one thing that you need to understand. Then the other thing, as someone who wants to succeed as an entrepreneur in the art, is that you must embrace innovations. You must embrace tools. You must embrace technology. Now, why have I mentioned these 3 things? Innovation, tools, and technology. I don't know how many of you remember when pagers came. When pagers came, I went to Disc Engineering and I bought a pager. I'm just using style to look for my pager now. So I bought a pager. My pager was not bigger than this. My pager was about like this size. Now, like the size of a call card. Now, my pager is technology. And I use that pager to make money because I didn't have a phone. I didn't have an office. And so I made the pager my office. I made the pager my secretary. And I followed up on calls. So what happened? I developed myself to the point where people were calling me and leaving messages for me, and I was following them back. And so, you see, you are an artist. You are in this sector. And until this lockdown, some artists did not even have Instagram accounts. Until this lockdown. Until this lockdown, some artists did not have Facebook account. Okay, they had Facebook account. They were not even running it. Some
I'm guilty.
some were not even on Instagram. Some were not on Twitter. You understand? So what I'm trying to say is, if you have anything as a talent, where else would you be pushing it? Every talent that you have, you must take advantage of any technology that pushes it. Because look at the people that are pushing their own technology, their own art and their creativity and taking it to the next level. Even Jesus said in the Bible that you cannot have something and you can't have light and put it under a bushel. If you are not promoting any talent you have buried it. It's in the Bible that people were given different talents. Some people were promoting theirs, developing it, making it, bring in more things. And somebody has his own and kept it under a place and said, I'll leave it. That's how God gave it to me. You must, as a matter of urgency, begin to use every platform to develop your art. That's how you begin to grow your entrepreneurial skills. How many people are going to call you today if they don't see the things that you do? Let me use an example that draws that home. The woman called Ruth in the Bible, her own husband died. Her husband died though, but she didn't give up. Look at this, and we're talking now. Esosa is eating.
Can you imagine?
Imagine. What
are you doing?
She's eating jollof rice.
Let me show your face.
And there's too much pepper in the food self.
How did you know, bros?
It's smelling now. It's smelling.
How did you know there's too much
smelling from here? It's smelling from here, and the way she's doing her mouth means like she wants to drink water. It's either hot or too peppery. Anyway, so what I'm saying is, you must use technology. You must embrace technology. You must always try to make sure that you are abreast. For instance, this day and age, if you're an artist or an actor and you say you want to get your material to the greatest platform and you shoot it on HD, it can't make Netflix. Why? Because Netflix has said it must be 4K.
Yes, yes.
So what I'm saying is, you have to step up to the next generation. Jesus and his parents, they trekked to Egypt when they were running from Herod. But Jesus himself ordered Uber. He said, go meet that woman, tell her to give you a donkey. He ordered Uber. So it means that things had progressed and Jesus has embraced it. There was a time in Israel that when people do something wrong, they stoned them to death. But gradually they moved on to crosses. We also had tablets. Tablets and stone tablets were what they wrote 10 commandments and all those things on. But they moved on from there to scriptures, to scrolls like this.
Yes,
They moved on to scrolls. But you see, if they moved on to scrolls like this, do you know how many scrolls you would have to carry to be able to read the book of Matthew? But you see, they moved on beyond this to having it in a Bible, in the normal book form. So they moved on and had that Bible kind of thing like this, the Bible like this. But you see, it has also gone a step ahead that you can have it here. You can have it in a phone. What does that do? It just tells you that everything progresses. And you must embrace technology, innovation, and tools that are used to progress your art. For instance, do you remember those days that you go to a church and they have ceiling fans, those long ceiling fans that come from the top all the way down? You see the long pole that holds the ceiling fan, and you are in church and the fan is going quickie. But you are in the church. But gradually, the church also embraced new technology and put air conditioners in the church.
Yes.
And they took out those fans. In fact, sometimes some churches then now have those days, if there's no generator, everybody sits in church and just worship without light. But now they put the generator on. These days, churches have gotten to the point where this song and these hymns and everything that people sing, you don't need to bring your hymn to church. They will put it on the display. Even announcements are not in pieces of paper again. They print, they mention, they do it like a voiceover and put on the church screen. What am I saying? Everybody is moving along with technology. Everybody is moving along with the time. And what does that say? It also means, okay, why do you think that Deeper Life agreed that people can watch TV? Because there are people were missing out. There are people were missing out. This is the same thing that affected the people in the north. When they were supposed to learn, they said, no, it's Boko Haram, English book, Western education is not good. But you see, Western education is not good. But tell me, do you have a chemistry textbook in Hausa language? Do you have a biology textbook in Igbo language? Do you have economics textbook in Egu? You don't. So everything that you have to learn is in English. What that means is that you must develop yourself to the point where you can also upgrade yourself. You can't be as you were. All the people that are saying, no, I like old-time religion, I don't want to change. I don't. Okay, old-time religion, when all the pastors were going from place to place, back in the days, they were going by foot or riding bicycle. Why are you entering plane? To go and preach with the old Bible and say, no, I can't change the Bible. Was that how the Bible was when you got it? What I'm trying to say is that you must move with times. You must be dynamic. If you're not dynamic, you will not learn. That said, let me get to the point of a structure. When I have an office now, and there's sometimes some people come to discuss with me and they say they want to come and meet me so that we can sit down and talk about this thing. And they say, where do we meet? I say, come to my office. And they come to my office. You know why? I let them come to my office so they see that this job that we're doing is not moi moi. I want them to come to my office so that you understand what I'm saying. Let me show you something. Let me show you my office. This is my office.
Wow. Wow, 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 wow. Wow. This is massive.
It's just like my office now. Okay. All right. So why am I showing you that? Is that a lot of people have come to negotiate in my office. Somebody wants office here. By the time I tell them a price, they first look at the office, know what they've seen downstairs and gotten upstairs, and they're not born you well to first talk, say 1 million Lamason. In fact, after I tell you my price, it is the discount that you'll be asking for. It won't be the amount that you want to pay. It will be, remove 1 million for you from it for us to pay now. Because you have to package yourself in a way that every entrepreneur must do. The global best practices that you hear about, it is not only for other businesses, for art as well, it must be applied. Why should it be applied to art? Art is a business. Art is a business. If you do not consider your art as a business, then it's a hobby. And when it's a hobby, you can't earn money from it. Anything that you do, that you treat as a hobby, you cannot earn money from it. Let me make you see something. You see, I'll use Wizkid. Let's put Wizkid on one side and put the executive director of a bank on this other side. If Wizkid earns 20 million and the bank MD earns 20 million, the bank MD actually earns more than Wizkid. I'll repeat. If Wizkid earns 20 million naira and the bank MD earns 20 million naira, the bank ED earns 20 million naira, the bank MD earns more than Wizkid. And I'll break it down for you.
How, sir? How
the
that
bank
work?
MD,
How?
the bank MD The bank ED goes to an office to work. He's not the one that pays the rent in the office. The bank ED will need a new car. He's not the one that will buy the car. The bank ED is traveling. He's not the one that will buy his ticket. I'm married to a bank ED. I do not buy diesel. They supply diesel because my wife is an ED. Now, even as ED, your husband or spouse, as they say, earns a salary. But you see, your rent, your transport, your welfare, your medicals, the day you fall ill as an ED, the bank will take care of you and take care of your husband and children. But as an artist, so as Wizkid is, don't forget now, the MD already has his 20 million naira salary. But every other thing is being provided for him. So holidays, staff. Now, the MD secretary, the ED secretary is paid by the bank. The ED's driver is paid by the bank. The ED's, everything, everybody that works with him, that makes sure that everything, the security that opens the gate for him, is paid by the bank. But Wizkid, if Wizkid says he wants to have 20 staff today, Wizkid will pay them. If Wizkid decides that he wants to fly private jets today, Wizkid will pay for the private jet. But the ED will get all of that because he's an ED. So the point I'm trying to make is that we are on different pedestals. And as artists, you must think straight as an entrepreneur. If you do not have a business that pays for any other lifestyle that you have, then you are eating into your profit. And so as an artist, you must not eat your profit. It's an entrepreneurial rule. You must not eat your profit. You can eat the interest that comes from profit. But even that, you must be careful how you eat it, because what you are advised to do is invest your money. Invest your money. Sometime back, there was someone that was talking to me, and he said, this COVID has exposed the fact that we in the arts do not have savings. We live from hand to mouth. So 300K comes today, you blow it. Forgetting that of that 300K that you have, the person that works in a bank that also gets 300 has all the other things that I mentioned taken care of. The office the person will go to, the person is not the one that will pay the rent. Don't forget that those people that work in a bank, they have housing allowance. But you as an artist, it is from that your 300 that you get your housing allowance. So what should we do? What we should do is that we must begin to create content, develop ourselves, and make sure that art takes care of everything that we do. And for it to take care of everything that we do, we must position it properly as a business. When I started doing comedy officially, you know, when I say officially, it was when I set up my office and opened it up. But I've done it for 32 years. But I set up my office in 1997. I set up my office in 1997. That is when I started doing business as a comedian. Before that, 1997, I was just making money here. But I set up an office at a Liganza house in Lagos Island. I set up an office at Liganza house in Lagos Island. I paid for the rent, put office, everything, employed staff. I started paying the staff. And I made sure that I started doing advert to make sure that I made money from my art. When you do not consider the art, that the talent that you have as a business, there is no way you can make money from it. No way. The best is that you become popular from doing something for free. And if you do anything for free, you cannot make money from it. And then the last thing is everything that needs to be done to develop your talents, please do. Reading. There are some people, they can wake up in the morning and go through 12 blogs. and read about the stories of this, the stories of that, the stories of that. If you are not reading those stories to make content, to create content, then you are making the other person's business grow. If you are not doing something. So I asked one guy the other day, I said, he's an artist. And he told me, he said, did you see so and so on Linda Cage's blog? I said, no. He said, yeah, he will send it to me. He sent it to me. I saw it. So I called him. This was, I was very upset with him because he's always complaining that he's broke. So, and also, do you know that guy? I think he's a Senegalese artist that uses football, bicycle, cutlass, everything to paint. He uses anything at all. He can use his eyes. He will close his eye, blindfold himself, and still paint. So I sent him a message. I said, did you see this guy? He said, no. I said, have you been following him? He said, no. I said, but you are following Linda Keji. Anything Linda posts, you will be there. Tobati post by baga, oti share to all your friends in your WhatsApp group and everything. I said, this guy is doing what you should be doing. But you are not posting it. You are not sharing it. But let me tell you one thing. When you share those kind of things, it also makes people know how incredible your talent is and your profession is. But people are not doing that. What people are, you are a fashion designer, and it is Manchester United and Man U match that you are awake. Once it comes to Manchester United, Man U, you are posting it, you are sharing it, you are doing this and this. But they now tell you there's a designer that just started making $20,000 every month from designing. No, it's not even sewing the clothes, just designing clothes and giving to Versace. And it's making $20,000 every month. That one didn't cross your mind. So what I'm trying to say is that until you begin to develop yourself and creating capacity. Now that COVID came, I was talking with some guys the other day, and the person was like, bros, how are you making money? The kind of event that we do now is online. I've done 3 weddings and 2 birthdays online. 3 weddings and 2 birthdays online. They don't pay as much as they used to pay back then. I think right now the highest has been 800K. 800K, which is, it looks like we're now charging 10% of everything that we were charging before. But you see, you're still making money. People are making skits. People are online creating content and everything. You have to be entrepreneurial. And what does an entrepreneur do? An entrepreneur is trying to use anything that he sees to make money. So in this case, you are supposed to use art to make money. How do you use art to make money? Do your research and development, understand the market, have an office. You must have an office. Even if you're working from home, early in the morning, have a bath, brush your mouth, and then if it is dance, put a video and dance. You must create the semblance of an office. You must create the semblance of, I'm at home, but this is business. And when you do those things, record them and post it. Record them and post it. And when you post it, write there that I'm a dancer, I'm a professional dancer, and put it there. All the motivational speakers that you see in Lagos that promote themselves, how do they promote themselves? They do speeches and productions and put it up, and people see it and say, oh, I like that thing. I would like you to share with my people in the office. There are some artists that don't have call cards. You must have a call card. Your call card must have your number, must have an email, and your Instagram account, your online account, because that is how you build your brand. Do you remember the call card that Joseph gave the man that he told his dream in the Bible, the butler? That is where the first call card was used. He said, remember me.
Yes.
That is what a call card does. Call card is ireti. Take, remember me, take, so that you can remember me. What is your call card? Do you have a call card? Do you give a call card to people that you do things for, the people you meet? It's not just meeting somebody and say, oh, hi, how are you? How's everything? The person says, oh, I'm a banker. I sell insurance. You take the insurance card and put it in your pocket. Give the person your own card. Let the person know that you have a job. That is how entrepreneurs do. All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, that is my presentation. I think I should have a few questions. And if there are any questions at all, I'll be ready to answer.
So much, sir. Thank you so much. In fact, I'm sure people have millions of questions. I saw some popping up. I saw a question from Olota there saying, what do we do about those who are reaping from the arts? They are not artists, but you know, one way or the other, they are reaping from where they didn't sow. Maybe due to some of the things you have pointed out here, bros. You talked about proper packaging. Some people, you know, they might say, oh, this person is not properly packaged, I'm the middleman, and then they just come to you and say, oh, I've got a job for you, and this is how much they're going to pay. And then they could get 3 million and they even pay you 500,000 because, like you said, you didn't properly package yourself. The clients didn't come to you. So Olata was asking the question there. I saw the question pop up there that what do we do about people like that? People are ripping people off.
You know, once you have a structure, once you have a structure, you can work around that. Once you have a structure, you can work around that. There was a time somebody called me once and said, Ali, I need you to talk to my people so that we can book you for an event. I said, oh yeah, sure, sir. Thank you so much, sir. And then give me a number. I called the person, and the person said, yeah, my MD said that that we should talk to you regarding so. So I said, oh yes. I said, hold on, so you can speak with my managers. You see what I did there? Your own manager, your own MD passed me to you people. Then I'll pass you to the people that will talk with you as well. Because you need to give form. You need to give form to this. But you see, if you have not reached that level, don't assume it.
Okay.
If you have not reached that level, don't assume it. You have to get to that point. You have to earn it. You have to get to the point where if somebody, for instance, somebody can say, what we have to pay is 1 million. But because you have passed that level, you are now in the 2.5, 3 million category. You can say, oh, sorry, I can't do it, but I can get somebody to do it for you for that price. But if you know that it is your level, there's no need to pretend to be more than that level. What I'm trying to say is that shebo sheto, but the thing is that don't bring yourself down in the process. And for the people that want to take advantage of you, what happens most times is desperation. I learned something from Lagbaja in 1994. Lagbaja said that the reason he could tell anybody back then that he doesn't want to take 300K, and 300K that time was a lot of money. He said the reason he could tell anybody that he won't take 300K is because he knows that he will make 1 million at motherland.
Yes.
He knows he will make 1 million at motherland. So end of that month, 1 million the motherland. So he has something to fall back on. But you see, every time he turned down 300 and said it's 350 or it's 400, he continued to show up his value. You must be doing something to show up your value. You see, some of the MCs that you see, like I would mention the name, IK, for instance, his fees have moved from 450 to 500. He was moving every year. He was moving every year, I think 150 every year, 150,000 every year. And now IK is about, I think about like between 3.5 or 4 million or thereabout. But you see, the reason IK can do that, Onishe.
Yes.
And he is in your face, he's in your presence, and he has built up that that prestige that you want to be associated with you. But you see, most times people do not build that and want to benefit from it. You can't. You must build the prestige to benefit from it. It's like, okay, what happens to a lot of people is that you have to make sure that you build a good reputation that you can then lean on to charge the amount.
Then there's another question here. Okay, I think the question, he even says that maybe we missed the point. I missed the point there. He said about the investments. What do you say about people reaping from the arts and investing the returns into things and places they know less or nothing about than in the industry where they make money? As they reap from entertainment, but they don't invest back into the entertainment.
Okay. All right. So let me say this.
Says, okay.
Yes, another one. Let me just call the question. Just read all the questions out.
How can you organize a wedding or event online?
The wedding that I did online is just like this. The bride and groom were in one picture. The friends and other people were in different places, and I was coordinating everybody. And the one I did for the Baccaris in London was that. Good evening, welcome everyone from across the world. All of you that are tuning in and joining us from America, from the Caribbean, those of you that are in Dubai, because they gave me a list of everybody that's going to join. And I said, all of you from Canada, all of you from America. Oh, and we have some people from Australia that are joining us. Sorry about the time difference, but we're here to celebrate a love and a communion of two people that have come together to marry. We're celebrating their love, and as friends, we're here for them. So ladies and gentlemen, at this point, the father would coordinate the wedding. And then when they're done with the wedding, we'll then go to the reception proper. And we'll take comments from every other person. But first, we'd like to Mr. Reverend, I'm trying to remember his name, Reverend Kalejo, something like that. Reverend Kalejo, can we have the opening prayer? And he did the opening prayer. When he finished the opening prayer, and I said, thank you so much, Pastor Kalejo. We'd now like to take the opening remark from our chairman of tonight. And then the man who was considered the chair made the speech. When he finished his speech, and I said, okay, I've been told that, let me use somebody's name here. Kate Odiong, Kate Odiong. Kate Odiong will now speak on behalf of the family. And the Kate Odiong lady spoke. And when she finished, and I said, thank you, Kate. God bless you. And then can all of us just give a round of applause, and everybody clapped. I said, okay, we'll go on to this. And I coordinated it. That's how you coordinate a wedding online. You finish just as it is. They have the cake in front of them. They cut the cake. And you move from the cutting of the cake to this thing. The DJ started playing. You could dance anywhere you are. The music is coming out of your system. You dance. Everybody parties. We'll finish it. So it's really, it's social distancing. But the thing is that it is even much better. It's cheaper. You have everybody in this. The one we had about like 300 people in the Instagram, in the Zoom wedding. We finished. There's some we did about like 25, 30 people. Some, the largest has been the one of 500 people. And that was a school reunion. But that's it.
So, sir, can you talk about the other question that said, what do you say about people who reap from entertainment and then they invest the money elsewhere instead of investing it in entertainment, and sectors that they go to, they know little or nothing about those sectors, but they go ahead to invest there anyway?
Okay. When you say people who reap from entertainment and then go and invest, you know, what I would say is there is uncertainty in our sector. There is lack of structure in our sector. Let me say, Wizkid or Davido or P-Square, for instance, they make money from music. Okay, where should they invest the money? Should they build record studios and build entertainment centers? But you see, if they build record studios and they produce music and put out there, piracy has still not stopped. So if piracy has still not stopped, what are they going to do with that investment? So sometime back, I invested in well, when I say sometime back, this was in 2005. I invested in an event center. excusez-moi, on the island. It was the biggest event center at the time before Eko Hotel now built their tent, that expo hall tent at the time. My venue could seat 5,000 people and could seat 10,000. We had a concert. I had a concert. Zane had a concert. Celtel had a concert. MTN had a concert there. Glow had a concert there. Now, of all these concerts that happened at that place, the kind of money that I made between 2005 and 2006 was much more than the money that I made about like 3 years put together, because people were just coming to take the place. And I said, there's money in this business. So, but you see, I did not have the capacity when they started building the toll gate, because I couldn't buy up the next building where they now use for Diamond Bank, and then the next one where they use for GTB going towards ShopRite. I couldn't buy it to use for car park. All the people that I talked to refused to give me loans, because they refused to give me loans. They were looking at the entertainment, no, entertainment, no. We do not have that structure to back up getting loans. And then when you now say you want to take loans, and they say, okay, bring your father's lap, bring your mother's ear, where would you get all of those from? Because the things that they will ask for, you do not have. So most times people just take what they can. Now, the question is right, that people should have invested the money they make from the industry back in the industry. The question is, what sector of the industry do they make the money from? What sector should they invest the money in? For instance, I've made 80% of my money, about 60% of everything I've earned is from comedy. The other is from investment. And so the money that I've made from comedy, I've built a property, I've built an estate, and I'm trying to make money from that estate back. But if I had invested that money in a theater, would I have gotten the money back at the time that I got the money back? So those are the things that people consider. But in spite of that, I still help to support the industry too. Well.
Okay, so there's another question here. He says, in short, you coordinated a reception from your end. But the question is, where can one start, especially when one has no massive capital saved to begin in this pandemic? Where can you start a business from?
It depends on the kind of business. It depends on the kind of business that you want to start.
As an artist, as a musician, as a comedian, as an actress.
It depends on the kind of business that you want to start. For instance, people don't go to museums anymore as artists. If you are an artist or something, have you thought about an online museum? It's like a blog. The way people go there to go and see stories that people have posted, that's how you can create a blog that people can go there and see. And when they see them, they can buy the artwork and you deliver it to them anywhere. What is killing a lot of artists is that they're not thinking outside the box. A lot of artists are just waiting for Fumilowo. It's not cash and carry. So the business has left the zone of cash and carry. We've moved into territories of ensuring that you do. Okay, there's this band, Vintage Band. Vintage Band is playing every night or every other evening online. I have booked Vintage Band for events, online events. But some bands are waiting now and saying, hey, are you playing every time online? So somebody to say, look at this band that is jamming. When we do the online event, let this band also jam on this thing. Are you a DJ? Are you playing online every day so that people can see it and then also buy into your DJ services? Are you a comedian? How many skits or how many stand-up or jokes have you put online that people can see? If you look now, most of all the online, look at MC Lively, Josh Too Funny, and all these guys. They are creating content that is drawing people to them. What are you doing for yourself? It's not about saying what kind of business can we start? There are businesses that you can start online. You can start delivering okay, Netflix is making a lot of money right now from movies. If you are a theater practitioner, have you started doing a movie review? Start a movie review, and your movie review will begin to show which movies to see and which movies not to see. And then you can even still create a platform where people then come together and discuss what they have seen and get a following and say, all of you who like to watch so and so, let's get together and talk about so and so. You get it and get sponsors. If you put it on YouTube, you can make money.
All right, sir. Yes, there's a question here. He said you talked about innovation. Where does positioning come to play? Where innovations may have serious adverse effect on pure art. For example, in embracing new tools and technology, I infuse mainstream media like film into my practice as a pure theater performer. How do I connect the dots, make money while the distinctive form?
Hello?
Sir, I can hear you, sir.
Okay, all right. Let me first talk about the first one about the first thing he mentioned was
innovation.
Okay, now
innovation an adverse effect on pure art.
Innovation, and they talked about clients and customer. What's this? Client and what?
He said innovation having serious adverse effect on pure arts. How does it connect the dots, making money while making sure that its distinctive form of art stays intact? That distinction is there.
Okay, now you see, when you have a creative ability, when you have creative abilities, and these your creative abilities, you need to sell it across. You need to first know who your clients are. It is knowing your clients that determines how you sell whatever you have to them. If you do not know your clients, you cannot sell anything to them. And I use an example all the time, and it is that the mother of Moses knew that Pharaoh's daughter wanted a child for her to put Moses in a basket. Because if Pharaoh's daughter already had children, if you put 10 Moses inside one basket, she won't take one.
Yeah.
So she already knew who Moses is. He already knew that this Pharaoh's daughter was childless and needed a child. So you first must know your market. You must know who you are marketing your products to. For instance, if I'm selling a product like, let's say, Akpororo, or any of all those Okoko comedians that can't speak English, and I don't mean this in derogatory, but Akpororo knows his market, and Akpororo will cut across the market. Yeah. Akpororo is not going to come and pretend that he's IK. All right, but he will sell his brand, and the people who like Akpororo will call Akpororo for work. The people who want IK will call IK for jobs. You must be targeting your clients, and your client base must be determined by understanding them first. You don't jump into the fray. For instance, if you tell me to come and MC an event in Kaduna, and I ask you who are the expected guests, what are the guest lists? Show me the guest list, and then you show me the guest list, and these people who are from Kotangora and they don't speak English at all, I will have a problem, because I will not be able to connect with them. You must understand the audience and sell to them properly. So regarding the customer positioning, you must use your networking. For me, there's some tricks that I use. One is I use my call cards. My call cards are like, they are the first there. This card I will give to you, and I still have another card. It's for January 1st. These are simple things, but they have the phone number. And I say, sir, here's my card. The person will take the card and put in the pocket. And what happens with a lot of people these days is that once you give them a card, they quickly save the number because they don't want to be carrying the card around. But if you do not have a card, it becomes a problem to connect with you. And one basic tool for networking is your call card. Now, your call card may look like it's just paper, but it is not. It's a transaction. It's like you are giving somebody, say, in case I have this thing, call me. Call me. In case you have an issue, call me. This is what I do. Some people's call card does not say what they do. You just have their name and their number there. But until you are that big, you know, they say something, say, grow to a point where you don't have to introduce yourself. If your call card doesn't introduce you, then you are already big. Because if Dangote gives you his card and it's Dangote and his phone number, you don't need to ask, what do you do, sir? Because you already know who he is. So your brand, your products, and the services that you offer, the delivery and everything should sync and help you to grow your brand.
Thank you. Thank you very much, sir. So, Bros, I'm going to crave your indulgence for like 2 minutes. I want German and Nicolako. He wants to say 1 or 2 things. So just let me crave your indulgence, sir, for just 2 minutes. Sure. German and Nicolako, please, you have the floor.
Well, I don't want to have a floor because a master is speaking. I just wanted to say, yes, Ali Baba is a master when it comes to entrepreneurship. And I've listened to him so many times, and I knew some of the story was relating in the past. I think it was a question by Shiwanlota because he came back on it. I saw that question and I thought it was missed. The way, I think it's coming from, you know, Ali Baba is speaking about entrepreneurship, where he's a master, but Shiwanlota is speaking more from the activist point of view. And I think what he's saying, which Ali Baba stressed on, in fact, 3 times he mentioned the word structure, that you need to have a structure. But he was speaking more at the individual level. I think Shiwanlota is talking about the system that we run that is advising or that is operating the art environment. He's talking about more fundamental things like, for instance, this is a nation of almost 200 million. Let's put that. There is no, for instance, cultural policy to guide the way art should be practiced. If Ali Baba wants to deal with some institution abroad, for instance, he has to negotiate as an individual. Whereas there should have been a national policy that will back him. And I'm happy that he was the chairman of the ministerial committee on the post-COVID, is it during COVID or post-COVID responses. I'm sure they must have stressed that point to the minister. I do not understand why every year, or let's say every time we have a minister and they do not think that they should have a cultural policy. And then they go to that. Imagine the British Council is like a cultural organization. Nigeria will go into deals with British Council, not with British government. It's an insult. So how will British Council respect Ali Baba? Because there's nothing on the document that says you have to give respect to this guy. The same thing about the people who make money from the art and they don't invest. It's talking more about endowment fund for the arts. How do you have a country of multitude of youths, millions of youths, and you don't have an endowment fund where you can say, we guarantee, go and study theater, go and study visual art, go and study comedy, go and study acting. We guarantee you that if your project is good, there's a national endowment fund that you can always draw from. I think that's where Shiwanlota was coming from. That's why he came back to say probably his question was missed. Thank you. Okay.
All right. Let me say something to the issue that Ebo German just raised. You see, the days when Nigeria had a policy towards cultural development and the cultural policies and all of that was the days that led up to First Act 77. That was then. After First Act 77, the military had succeeded in achieving whatever they wanted to achieve, and they forgot about it. The other reason that they were very concerned about culture, arts, and even broadcasting, was because it was a tool for planning coups. It was a tool for planning coups. And as soon as independent television came on board, and they knew that there were several television stations across the country that didn't belong to government, they withdrew all their sentries from the broadcast houses. And so you could go to NTA and the soldiers are not there anymore, because before, television was considered a tool that you could use to plan a coup. Now, even the National Theatre, it wasn't like government had a policy to help the arts grow. It was because we were chased out of the Committee of Nations for not returning to democracy. And government was like, okay, let's plan a grand celebration of African arts and culture so that we will show the people that since you have excommunicated us from international Commonwealth meetings, we will show you that we as Africans are very strong. Which was what, because we had the money, we had oil money, and we were feeling so big, which then led us to say, okay, we'll build that, we'll bring everybody from Africa to come and celebrate, and any other black person from anywhere in the world to come and celebrate with us. And most of the time, when they wrote the letters to the people said they can come, but they don't have where to stay. And government said, don't worry, give us a few years, we're going to build First Act. So they built First Act Town, and the people who built First Act Town were living in Satellite Town. And so they stayed in Satellite Town and built First Act Town. And when they finished building First Act Town, we organized the festival. The people that came stayed in all the apartments, and the people that stayed in those places, when they were leaving, were told by the government, you can take your Vono mattresses, you can take your KDK television and fans, and your neck ceiling fans, and your fridge, Adebowale electronics and all this supplied a lot of it. You could take everything and leave. Why? Because we wanted to prove a point that we were the giant of Africa and we could do anything that we wanted to do. It was not because we had a policy. And after that, you can also see what happened with a Film Censors Board. They set up Film Censors Board, not because they wanted to make our films better. They set up Film Censors Board because they wanted to control what was inside the movie. They did not want the movie to create problems. So it was a censors board. It was not a board to make movies better. So it is about control. And when you see what government is doing, government is actually just lazy and are looking for where they could see money. So for instance, they've looked at the whole thing. How much were they making from entertainment? Nothing. How much were they making from art? Nothing. But they were making money from crude oil. So when pirates go and attack a pipeline, they attack the pirates. But when pirates attack our business, they don't attack our business, they don't attack the pirates back. So it is that government had believed that there's nothing they were getting from entertainment. Thank God for COVID that shut down the price of oil, and they now started seeing that it looks like we should begin to depend on alternative sources of revenue. And they now started thinking of where to get money from, which is the same thing that informed NIPOST, increasing money for courier services, which is like NTA. The craziness of it is like NTA beginning to demand payment from other television stations. You are a partaker in the business, so you are a participant in the sector, so you can't be the one that also regulates it. But in any case, the point I'm trying to make is that we have a government that has no policy at all. So what we have done is in the creative sector committee that we did, we laid out a lot of things. And truthfully, until we mentioned all those things that were happening in the sectors, which was why the minister said that he wanted us to be very thorough. Before now, this other thing, I think German can testify to this. One other thing that has killed entertainment in this country is that every time you talk of the creative sector, broadcasting, press, music, once those people just show up, then they feel like all entertainment is covered. And all the people that own broadcast houses, they feel like they own every other thing. So B.O.A.T will quickly go to minister and say, oh, this is the problem we are going through, sort us out, and that's it. Look at, people don't read anymore. Nigerian authors are all broke. The ones that make money are the ones like Chimamanda, who take their work out, because piracy is killing anything. Chinua Achebe did a book before he sold 300 copies. People have sold 4,000 copies in Lagos. The piracy in this country was, which was why I asked Jonathan, I told Jonathan, I said, and a lot of people saw the video that day. I said, Mr. President, sir, we do not need money from you. All we need is for you to strengthen the entertainment industry and the creative arts industry, so that when you are even running for election, some of us will give you money. I mentioned an example that day. I said, look at AY. AY just finished his movie, 30 Days in Atlanta. AY made close to about like 200 million for a movie that he didn't spend up to 70 million to shoot. AY can give you 10 million or 20 million to add to your campaign. What we just need is to create a structure and an enabling environment. But that is the problem that we have. A lot of, I tell people, what is feeding Paris is the Eiffel Towers. And the Eiffel Towers is feeding Paris not because, this is art and entrepreneurship again now. Eiffel Towers is feeding Paris not because of the sight of it alone. It is the fact that the people who will come to see the Eiffel Towers will stay in a hotel. They will eat. They will use transport. They will buy things. They will go shopping. They will go to a club. They will spend time in Paris and spend money. And the cost of the hotel business will continue to go up. A taxi driver in Paris can make money that a taxi driver in Lagos can't make in 5 years, in 2 days, because of the exchange rate and the value that the Eiffel Tower has brought. So what is it that we have, which is also coming down to what Oga German has said, as what is the constructive and dedicated policy that is targeted at. When I told Jonathan that time, I said, Oga, this money that you are budgeting and you want to give to all these people, it is not about going to New York Film Academy. If they go to New York Film Academy and come back, where would they sell the movie they will produce? The pirates will be waiting for them. The quality of the movie that the pirate will sell will be better. But instead of spending that money on individuals to go to New York Film Academy or build something here, we'll build in fact, the money was enough to buy a building to call the anti-piracy squad, and let's give 4 vehicles to the Nigerian police force, Nigerian police force anti-piracy squad. Let them be driving around like an armed robbery squad and arresting everybody. But you then now give people licenses to sell content in different places. There's no Nigerian that can now say, I've sold 5 million copies of a particular song. But there are 5 million copies that have been sold. So it is about structure. And until the structure is properly settled, we'll still remain where we are.
There's another question here. It says, what do you think about the creation of an entertainment credit card that families can use specifically to purchase cultural products?
Well, the thing is that it's not about an entertainment card. It is about having a place where people can go and buy quality products and confirmed products. For instance, if you go now to buy this drug, there is something you scratch. And the number is a toll-free number. When you dial the number, it will tell you whether the product you're buying is real or not. Those are the kind of things that we need to put on products so that the quality of our products can grow. The other thing is we need to have registered centers for artworks to be sold or cultural products to be sold. There's a friend of mine who bought a golden calf at Elegushi market. All the body of it was bronze, or brass or whatever this thing, all shiny and everything. It was when he got to the airport in America that they found out that heavy thing that he was carrying, all inside was cement. The only thing that was around this that was the calf itself, the thing covering it was they cheated him. Let's just put it like that. So that's it. We need to begin to create a concerted effort. So I understand what German and Tony Akinsho have been doing with the cultural engineering. And I believe that, and then even Adefila, I know what they've been doing. But you see, the government has to buy into it. If the government does not buy into it, all of what we're talking about will be wasted. And from the report that we have given to the government, we have told them, you have Brila FM. Brila FM supports sports. You organize sporting competitions and you bring footballers to come and play. What are you organizing for the creative arts? Because seriously, when you organize African Nations Cup and you take the players to go and take part in African Nations Cup, you are growing it, because people will then see there's content that is created, and people will then see the footballers that perform on that at that showpiece. But you see, what do you then have in Nigeria that you are bringing international people to come and be part of? Government must also do something to grow the sector. Lagos is organizing marathon. So people who like to do marathon races have a platform to key into and push their brand. What do we have that is international for arts? Because your National Assembly organizes international, what are they called? International, something for the assembly. They organize something for the assembly, for lawmakers, and we fund it. What do we have that we must fund on international scale? Since First Stack, most of all those things are nowhere to be found. I think Princess has dropped off, so Segun, you take over from that.
Princess yes, around. Sir. Thank you so much.
Okay, Princess much, around. Okay.
Yes. Thank you so much, sir. I really learned a lot from everything you said. You talked about scene dynamic and moving with the times. And also, you've talked about social media presence, which, of course, I saw the point that you were making with Josh Too Funny and MC Live. They are always out with new skits. And like you said our profit must also invest our profits wisely. You know, that, I mean, we can't just be living from hand to mouth, and also we should make our talents such that people would want to, you know, pay for it. So I don't think we have any more questions, because the other comment there earlier was more like how do I say it? Something you've already talked about earlier before. Segun, is there anything you want to add? Can you hear me? Because yes, we'll be rounding up very soon. Okay, so I said Bros has talked about a lot of things: innovation, technology, investing your profits wisely. He has also talked about making sure that your talent is worth paying for. So and he has answered quite a few questions, a lot of questions, in fact. I, for one, am guilty about one thing you said, Bros. You talked about social media. My social media presence before now was just, I don't know, was appalling. But I mean, I'm getting better, and I like you said. Can you hear me, Segun?
Okay, I can hear you now.
Okay.
I lost you for a while.
So I said, do you have anything?
Oh, sure. I don't know if Bros will remember this encounter. It happened, this there used to be this seminar, Waiting Lawyer They Do Self, organized by
FEDA Zako.
Yes. I think it was that event or another event. You were there, and BlackBerry pin had just come out then, when you say people should drop their PIN number. And I came there feeling like next thing after sliced bread, because I had a Palasa phone with me as a big boy from Bariga. And then I got to that place, and Bros was saying to all of us that he recognized, "Hey, you can drop your pin." What was it? BlackBerry was using back then, you know. And I saw people dropping their pin, whatever, and I had nothing to drop. I said, "Sure." So I never even start at all. And roll back, I mean, fast forward some 10 years or 12 years after that time, is still on that point for us. So I wish if I'd listened to him then and taken that injunction very seriously, maybe by now, Bros will be doing this thing that he's doing for us free of charge. I'll pay him some staggering amount of money that he'll be calling me Bros for at least some 1 hour. So all I want to say is that this has been an interesting encounter for all of us right here. You know, we call this a real trial, where we have the real, you know, people are here in real time, and then we're having this virtual conversation. There are a lot of young people seated around here, staring at the screen. In fact, we are projecting all of this on the screen, you know, so that people can listen to it. And from what you've said now, I think there's a bit of hope that we're going to have an industry. Why did we choose Bros? I've gone for a couple of his shows. Princess, we've said words about him. Everybody in that industry kept saying the same thing about this same man. And he just decoded by saying, those in your industry are not your competitors. That's why he was bold enough to do all of those things that he was doing. And I hope that we, the upcoming one, can learn from this and begin to try to emulate. So I just want to say thank you, sir, for the time, for giving us your time. Uncle German, you are like a Iroko behind me. You're always there anytime we're doing anything. I mean, you took us from infancy, you know, and the Committee for Relevant Arts, Professor Kole Odutola, etc., and so many of my good friends and my, you know, my senior colleagues.
Where's Adefila? Let me interrupt you here. Where's Oga German?
Yes, sir. He's hiding. He doesn't like to show his face, but he's around.
Oga German.
I will unmute you now.
Oga German, there used to be a guy at the USIS that was helping me with comedy books. There, Segun something. Where is he?
Segun Ojeoye.
Segun Ojeoye.
He's a professor in Southern Illinois University, professor of theater. You
know, the book that Segun gave me. Hey, guys, hold on. Let me bring the book. Everybody stay where you are. Everybody stay where you are. Stay where you are. This is the book.
Wow.
Yeah. Treasury of American Humor.
Yeah. Yes. Wow.
And he gave this to me. This book is, the last edition of it was 1972.
Wow.
See?
And in this book was where I read the history of stand-up comedy. Here. The history of stand-up comedy.
Wow.
Why the art was called stand-up comedy. Because they said all the people that came on the ship as slaves did not understand themselves. And they were speaking different languages. The Kanuris, the Ibibios, the Ashanti, the Senegalese, and all of them. They were all speaking different languages. And so when they were on the ship, they could not understand themselves. When they got to Brazil or got to Maryland, a lot of them still couldn't speak the language. So they were listening to the language of the white man. So that was why they started speaking broken English. And as they were speaking broken English, this is the whole, is all here. And as they were speaking those broken English, they were being very funny to the white man. And so in the evenings, the people now built some musical instruments. This is the origin of jazz. They built musical instruments. And because they didn't understand themselves, they could learn the chorus, but they'll continue playing for a long time without singing any chorus because they didn't know any language. So they'll continue playing. And that's why you hear, and you know what? That thing that they were doing, when they finally now get back to singing, the white men were watching them and enjoyed the jazz music they were playing, because that was what it was. It was jazz to them. Now, for the stand-up comedy, when the black people who now managed to speak some English came around to speak the English, it was broken English and it was bastardized English. And so when they wanted to speak, they would all come and sit on the ground. And the white men who were the owners, the slave masters, would tell them to stand up and perform. And that is where the stand-up comedy started from. And so the people who stood up to perform will stand up and try and tell oral jokes. So those oral stories of the lion, the tiger, the tortoise, and everything, that then formed your Lion King. All of those kind of stories of how the lion would do this, how the tortoise was so wise, how there were some very wise animals in this thing that would advise the lion and all that. That was how they started it. Now, all this thing, to tell you how important they were at the time, they became so important that when the people in the town that had, what are they called? Because then they had pantomime. That was what the Oyibo people had, pantomime and theater. People would come there and perform with theater, the Elizabethan thing, the Shakespearean thing. But you see, they did not have stand-up comedy. But you see, when the black people started doing this stand-up comedy and jazz, it became so popular. And then our ladies were always having big bum. Then the Oyibo people started making their women wear those dresses that look like they have big bum as well. And we'll go on stage and perform and dance like our black women. And then when they found out that the black people were beginning to draw people to the farms, the white people started painting themselves as black people to perform, which was why they called them the black minstrels. And so they started performing until it was banned by Abraham Lincoln that they should not perform as black people. So when people started getting freedom as slaves, the black slaves who were now performing, who were performing in the farms then, now went on stage and started doing stand-up. That's Segun Ojewoye gave me this book. The history of stand-up comedy is inside this place.
In fact, now that you brought the story of books, let me just, because Segun mentioned that we have a lot of young people in the house. The reason I don't show my face is because I'm intimidated by what I have at my back. You know, the last meeting we had, Ali Baba, if you remember, at Jazzville.
Okay.
You came there purposely to discuss what I did. He said he was writing 3 books on his art, so that people know that it's not a joke. He said, I'm not a joker. What I'm doing is serious business. He was writing 3 books. You remember that?
I remember, yeah.
I just want to stress on the importance of education, enlightenment. That's the only way you can be empowered. And I think these 2 factors have been mentioned by Ali Baba.
You know, there's need to, a lot of people that are watching there now, I need to further prove that, you see, these are encyclopedias. This used to be our Google back in the days. You see, but let me blow your mind a bit more and take you into my library.
So bros, that one will be library.
Now, these are the things that you need to read to develop whatever. So you have to read about business. There's no business
Wow. Wow.
You just shelf and you shouted, "Now let's go."
This is serious. Wow. Good afternoon, sir.
This is not working again. We don't have libraries, we don't have books again. Everybody is lazy to read.
These books are plenty. Yes, almost all. Hello? Hello, Segun. I think Ross is offline.
Yeah, I think it's off now.
I think he's offline,
I think it's network.
but I really enjoyed every. Should we wait for him or should we leave you to go and prepare?
In the meantime, if Professor Kolebitola would want to tell us something, to add to that. I know that when he and the Germans of this world, when they hear about books, because they always told us we don't read. If he wants to add to this. Prof.
Well, thank you very much, my brother. Yeah, what Ali Baba was talking about is called the black on black minstrelsy, and the white on black minstrelsy. It was a time when comedy had a racial undertone, but because blacks were not allowed on stage, they were not allowed and permitted to perform. Even the whites, when they wanted to mimic them, they would also paint their faces black. And that's why you also had, it was a whole movement, was a time in the life of the performance in America at that time. And the whole racial undertone was that it led to self-depreciation. The persons themselves, the blacks themselves, because the only way they could make their masters laugh was to say some nasty things about themselves. And that's why up till today, if you look at the American media landscape, you would find out that it took a Cosby to move the narrative from Sanford and Son. Sanford and Son, they were always the underclass, and that is the only way in which people found fun with what they were doing. And until he came, Cosby came, and they saw that a black person could also be a professional. So there is the way the American performance space has developed also should let us understand. And that's why if today you take a look at the way African Americans are represented in Nigerian videos, they are always represented as druggies, as unstable people, and all of the negative things that Hollywood had sold. Because you cannot have a people, you cannot have Black people who were properties. They were objects. You couldn't have them being presented to the public as people with brains. So Hollywood constantly, and there was one of the actors who said, why is it that the most successful actors, Black actors, have to be feminized? They would have to dress like females. So you need a little bit of understanding of what the agenda. Every comedy has its own agenda, and it has a reason for the society. There's always comedy and society. What they say is what is really funny is not laughed at. And so the comedy in Nigeria has been such that it has helped us to manage the tensions of society. It has helped us to escape the oppression of the elite class. And that's why you find some of the comedians, when the governors are there, they even throw babs at them, and in the name of jokes. But if you go underneath this, these are serious things that these comedians are trying to say. And my mother has ever told me forever that if you want to say something that it is from the jokes that people throw at you that they're also trying to tell you some things that are very important. So for me, it is the whole question of Black on Black minstrelsy or white on Black minstrelsy. These were minstrels. They were supposed to be funny people, jokers, but it had a racial undertone into it, into the kind of things that these people were trying to socially engineer. The whites who watched the people make fun of themselves had a reason. And up till today, African Americans are still going on protest saying that I am a man, recognize my humanity. The American society has not yet recognized the humanity of the African Americans. And it is left to us, those of us on the African continent, to help them in their fight to rehumanize themselves and not dehumanize them. I would urge you to watch the movies that have been produced in Nigeria and please see how African Americans have been portrayed. It is funny, it is interesting, and it calls for good dramaturgy. But for God's sake, let us restore the humanity of African Americans that have suffered from the hands of their oppressors, and also are suffering from Africans themselves. And that is all I would have to say. And I would also like to thank very much Ali Baba for his efforts. He's done a lot. Every time I say to people, if you want to find any creative person that has also become a total capitalist, somebody who understands the capitalist ethos and lives in the dream and the vision of capitalism, Ali Baba is the best poster boy for it. He's done very well for himself. He understands. I mean, the day I saw him in the stock market with a group of fellow comedians was when I said to myself, there are people who have taken their craft and they understand how the capitalist system works and they're using it. They're not working hard alone, but they're letting their money work hard for them. But at the same time, to all those who know Ali Baba and know AY, They know that they have not yet lost their soul to the exploitative and the extractive tendency of capitalists. These are people I would like to call the social capitalists, but there's no killing the beetle. They are within the firm grip of a capitalist empire, and they have, to a great extent, used it to better the lot of a lot of people. And I doff my heart, though I don't have one, but at least you can imagine it. But that's what I would say, you know, for a person who has understood the mechanics of how capital works. You cannot be a capitalist without capital. And there's always that stage of aggressive or primitive aggressive accumulation of capital in order to use it to build something else. And I can assure you that we're going to see more of community intervention. You know, it's when a man has the means of production that he can also begin to control the means of social reproduction. On that note, I would say very thank you for giving me this opportunity to talk.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Yeah, Princess. Hello, Princess. Hello. Are you there?
Thank you very much, sir. So I've stopped writing. I've learned so much today. I've learned so much, and I'm so grateful. Maybe the network is bad. Where Bros is bad.
Hello, Princess.
I'm not.
Hello, Princess. Princess, Timono lobby me now.
I can hear.
Okay.
Should we leave you to go and prepare for your next program?
Yeah, okay. I wish we can just go on and on, and you see, I never get tired of listening to Bros, you know. I never get tired of listening to him. I mean, it's been an engaging time, but of course, there's another program that's coming up at 6 o'clock. We still have about 3 more performances to go on. So I think at this point, I'm going to stampede Uncle German, what he used to do to us, to help us give a vote of thanks to the grand comedian of the Federation himself, and of course to all the big babas in the house standing with us. Uncle German, you have been stampeded. Thank you, sir. Beat me later.
I think Ali Baba, you now understand why I can't make money from my art. The whole thing started with that stampede thing that you don't have to make money. And I think the end bit of Dr. Kolia Adeojitola's statement already thanked Ali Baba enough, because there's no thank you is not enough for you. We can only say that you set yourself up as a model, and even though you are younger in age, or you are still young in age, but you've raised so many children who are everywhere they go, they pay tribute to you, and you always remember the day of your humble beginning, which is something else that all of us have to learn, that it didn't just start today. I think what we should do is what we resolved on 3 days ago. We did the 60th birthday of Professor Dr. Kolia Adeojitola. And one of the things we took away from there, 7 hours of talking and engaging and fighting and throwing table and chairs, even across the screen, is that we need to do a lot more documentation of what people have done. What you have done today, Segun and Adefila were reaching out to me at the back end that we should put some things down in your writing now. So what you have done today, I think should inspire some people to say, look, the Ali Baba story has to become the kind of book that you showed. If I showed my library to you, see things about theater, this is my media section, I have my theater section up there, I have broadcasting somewhere, I have world history. You know, we need those documentation. some people documented that thing that you showed in the book. If they didn't document it, there's no way you will have been aware of it. And now you are aware of it and you are spreading it. So I hope I always go back to our university. They need to do a lot more. They don't have to go and study Sam Davis Jr. They can study the style of Alibaba. How has Alibaba created his own product that has become a success? That people are not just plucking. What I see some other comedians doing, they are plucking from what you have done. But they should have it in a document that can be taught in school, that can serve as a book of inspiration for younger people and things. So we thank you very much for what you have done. You started from almost nothing. Your story is that you came to Lagos not even knowing where to sleep. But you ended up getting a house. You ended up building an industry. You ended up building an estate. Somebody said my jaw dropped when he mentioned the estate from comedy. So that's why we have to tell your story. So we thank you very much for being an inspiration for a lot of young people, for a lot of us too, because we learn from your experience and things. Hopefully this conversation will continue. And for everybody who has attended, thank you very much. To the chief missioner for the Eko Theatre Carnival, Segun Adefila, we can't thank you enough for what you are doing, bringing up so many children, people from Bariga and Co, and making them to believe in this. And you've also built groups, Footprints of David, even the Gifted Stepper, we inspired them. So these are the kind of stories we need to be telling. So thank you, everybody. I hope you have learned today. I've learned quite a lot. Thank you. And there's somebody painting there, Yusuf Jurodola. As we have been talking, he's been painting. You can check him out. Thank you, Yusuf Jurodola. Thank you, everybody. And let's meet at 6 for the production. We have 10 minutes to that. Thank you, everybody. Goodbye.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you.
God bless.
Yes, God bless you. Thank you, Princess, my sister. Thank you for listening. Thank you. Bros, thank you. Oh, I can't thank you.
Before you go, look at what I saw. Look at what I saw inside the book.
All this archival materials. They never born me.
The evening. Upper Williams organized the evening, 1997.
97. I was working in Central Bank then.
Archival material. Mukaila Mukaiba.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. God bless you.
Thanks again for the invitation, Ashe. Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye. Bye.
Thank you, everybody.
Bye, sir.
Yeah, bye-bye. So,